All right, this morning, guess what? We are going over to the Public Procurement Commission. And we're going to be talking to Mrs. Nadia Morris. She is the Executive Director of the Public Procurement Commission, PPC for short. And she has responsibility for providing strategic leadership and operational oversight for the organization. She's an ex officio member of the PPC Board of Commissioners. And she boasts over 18 years of comprehensive expertise in public procurement compliance, project management, and community development within the public sector. So, in other words, she ain't no dibby woman. She brings a wealth of experience to positions of executive director and commissioner. This morning, we're going to be talking a lot about a new initiative that they'll be launching. It is the MSME Procurement Integration Project. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be looking at the functions of the MSME Procurement Integration Project. We're going to be looking a little on the PPC's mandate, which, by the way, is about ensuring value for money, efficiency, integrity, and transparency in the public procurement process. Let me say good morning, a mellow morning, to our Executive Director of the PPC, Mrs. Nadia Morris. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Kels. I am doing great. How are you?
I am good. I feel like we're going to be, chatting it up this morning. So I made sure to have the introduction right, and I hope, no important point was left out of it so people know exactly the wealth of knowledge and experience that you're coming with, so they can sit closely and take notes while you, explain some things for us this morning.
Yes, thank you. You did justice. I am good.
All right, so we want to start with the roles and function, or core functions of the Public Procurement Commission. What are the roles and core functions?
All right, first and foremost, the Public Procurement Commission was operationalized in 2020, and we are governed by the Public Procurement Act of 2015, Section 11, and that really outlines our role, our core functions, and it is mainly to approve the award of procurement contracts of value above Tier 1 limit. Mm-hmm. So anything over $60 million, that comes to the PPC for approval from procuring entities in the government. We also register and classify persons, firms, or entities as suppliers and approved persons, and as unregistered suppliers as well, for the purposes of the Act, which is to participate in public procurement. And we're also, this is a new mandate that was executed in 2023. We were now heavily focused in contract performance monitoring. So any contracts over $10 million Jamaican, we are now responsible for the monitoring of those as well.
Ah, all right, not bad. So that's what, an extra layer of transparency there is an extra layer of what, efficiency?
We have heard the complaints before about how contracts have been executed in the government service, and so what the monitoring does is to monitor against certain indicators: quality, security, safety. Is the contract being completed on time? So that is something that we found was necessary, and we executed that under the Contractor and Consultant Performance Evaluation Program.
Okay. All right. Sounds like quality assurance, in my opinion.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, in terms of, your contribution to nation building, I know some people, when they think of the PPC, they don't even realize how you contribute to this whole, art of, supporting the nation in a positive way, but you do so through different means and methods. So you have things that like a productivity and efficiency and probity in the public sector. Share more with our listeners in terms of that type of contribution.
All right, so our mandate, as I've outlined before, what that means is that the PPC is now involved heavily in the oversight of the public procurement processes. So we are here to ensure that there is transparency and integrity in the system. And as you mentioned about the productivity and efficiency, we review contracts above 60 million and also make recommendations to Cabinet at the Tier 3 level that is above 100 million. And based on the role that we play and enabling the suppliers to participate in procurement, that also empowers and stimulates economic growth as well for Jamaica. So it's vast. It may seem insignificant, but the work that we do enables the government to be able to grow the economy as well, because you need the private sector to do that.
Okay, and you have to do it in a way that will not stifle transparency and accountability, and you are ensuring that integrity in the way in which the government runs the country.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Now on to the project that I mentioned that we're going to be tapping into, the MSME Procurement Integration Project. I think we first heard about that from our finance minister earlier this year. What exactly is it? What is it, going to be achieving? What is, the goal of this project really?
Right. So the Minister of Finance, the Honorable Favour Williams, in her presentation in the budget debate earlier this year, indicated that she wanted to enable the MSMEs to participate in procurement in a more inclusive way. So in order to strengthen their earning power and competitiveness against larger businesses, the Public Procurement Set Aside Order of 2019. So the government is really recommitting to executing this, and what this does, it provides a 20% allocation of government procurement opportunities reserved for eligible suppliers. So the government is essentially now wanting to empower them with information to maximize their engagement in the public procurement process. It is a 12-month project that is being rolled out island-wide, and so we are starting on July 3 with a launch at Iberia Star on July 3. And the components of the program will include the PPC establishing a verified MSME supplier registry and providing the relevant training and outreach for these suppliers to be able to understand and respond effectively to the government procurement opportunities and how to navigate the set-aside framework.
Okay. All right. So I know you have some MSMEs listening, and they're so happy about, the launch of this project, which you mentioned will be happening on July 3. That's very close to us, Iberia Star Montego Bay, starting at 10 a.m. How can they pre-register? Do they need to pre-register for the launch? And, you say this.
Definitely.
Okay. Or how do they go about doing that?
First and foremost, it is free of cost.
Free.
That's what it's free.
Free. Okay. All right.
Free. And so how they pre-register is you can email your contact details to msme at ppt.gov.gm. And we also have a file that is on our social media pages and in the papers. So you can also scan the QR code from that flyer and complete the registration form. And we need all persons to pre-register because the maximum capacity is 250 persons. And so we are really focusing on the MSMEs in that part of the island, the western part, St. James, Trelawney, Hanover. I know Kingston is wearing and ready to go, but we are rolling out in the western end. We'll have other boot camps coming on board for the rest of the year. So in September, we will be in Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Catherine, but for right now, we are trying to really focus on the more western parishes, right?
Okay, all right. You preempted my next question because I was about to ask you if you can get an exclusive drop on where you're moving to next for the boot camp, but you mentioned it already. So they can look out for it. They don't have to think that we're special still, that you're starting in the west, but you'll be, rolling out one for them in other parts of the island. But for those who are listening, they might just be joining. We're talking about your MSME Procurement Integration Project, and I know you mentioned that you're hoping to simplify the whole, procurement process for MSMEs. So you're going to have a simple registration set up for them. You're going to show them how they can.
Right. We will have registration being done on site, And if that is something that they want to do when they send their email or register, they can note that so that we can inform them of the documentation that they need to bring in as well. We'll also have technical and business development support from the Jamaica Business Development Corporation, and they're also assisting with mobilizing the MSMEs as well. And we also will be having financial readiness assessments from the Exim Bank and the Development Bank of Jamaica, who are also our partners. And I just want to really thank them for coming on board as well as the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Governance.
All right. And I know you must be, you must have something in there to touch on best practices when it comes to procurement. You'll be training them in that regard as well?
Definitely. That will be done by the Ministry of Finance through the Office of the Public Procurement Policy. And so it is a full day of information. If you're looking to maximize on government procurement, this is the place to be on July 3rd.
All right, so we don't want to miss it. And you did mention that it's absolutely free, which is amazing. You have a capacity maximum of 250 participants, and you say they must register by tomorrow, Friday, June 26th. Is the deadline for pre-registration. And again, to do so, they can contact you. They can send what? Via email, as you mentioned, directly.
Via email.
Remind us of
MSME, MSME@ppc.gov.jm.
Okay. All right. So we write that down, can't miss it. And for the next boot camps that you have lined up, you say you're doing one in September, and that's going to be...
So we'll have that ready on our social media pages so they can look out. Once we announce it, you're good to go.
All right. Finally, last question. Why should, MSMEs take part in this whole boot camp, in the whole MSME procurement integration project? Why should they be a part of it?
The fact is, there are so many opportunities available to the MSMEs, but they're not maximizing. And most persons have this notion that it's difficult to participate in government procurement, but we are making it easier for you and giving you the access that you need, because really public procurement is a key business growth engine, and the government spends billions of dollars in procurement annually.
All right.
So that is something, that's a piece of the pie that they can access as well.
That's right. And you don't have to believe that you're too small to be a part of it. All right. Thank you so much again, Miss Nadia Morris. Is there anything else you want to mention before we wrap?
Well, I think that we covered most of what we wanted to talk about, and I would love to say thank you for having me this morning.
It is our pleasure having you. Great talking to you, and we learned a lot this morning. Thank you again, and we're looking forward to July 3 at Iberia Star, and you should be seeing your 250 participants max.
I am sure.
Yes, at 10 a.m. Great. Enjoy the rest of your day now.
All right, bye-bye. Thank you.
All right, that was Mrs. Nadia Morris. She's Executive Director of the Public Procurement Commission, PPC for short. And they're going to be having their MSME Procurement Integration Project. They say that one will be launching on July 3. It's going to be at Iberia Star right here in Montego Bay starting at 10 a.m. And again, you have to pre-register if you want to take part in the boot camp. And pre-registration must be done by tomorrow, Friday, June 26th.